everybody. Hi. Thanks, Joe, for asking me to come here today to speak to you and to support your judicial review. It means a lot to be here, to stand next to you and support you. Because all is not well with our NHS. In fact, our NHS is very sick indeed. Virtually every day we hear stories of A&E waiting times getting longer and longer, hospitals full with no beds available, GPs struggling to meet demand, and there never being enough money to properly fund the NHS. And what's strange about this is that in many ways we seem to be getting the blame. It's our fault because we're living longer, or we're drinking and smoking too much, or not eating healthily enough, or our expectations are too high, and we're going to A&E when we shouldn't be. But like many things, it is often what you don't hear that's important. And when it comes to the NHS, you never hear about what's going on behind the scenes. Yet it's what's going on behind the scenes that is the real problem here. Because behind the scenes, they are ripping our NHS apart and changing the rules completely. They are opening it up to pave the way for an American-style insurance model. Just the other day, I discovered that all of the CCGs in my region have formed a massive Northern Joint Committee, and under the guidance of NHS England, they are deciding which services they can put out to tender. Currently, specialist acute services and 111 urgent care. From the meeting notes that I've read, it seems clear that NHS England is promising them more power if they develop accountable care systems. Yet they have no clear plans and no means of us holding them to account for the decisions that they are making. This concerns me greatly. And in the meantime, our local hospital is struggling to keep its maternity unit open, its A&E department is fit to burst, and the Trust is having to rely on charity to raise money to purchase a new MRI scanner. And that makes me angry. My local hospital is having to rely on charity to buy equipment that could save people's lives at a time when nearly 20% of our public funding of our NHS is going towards administrative costs. Administrative costs? That makes me angry, because outsourcing is inefficient. Opening up our NHS to market forces is sucking the public purse dry and making some billionaires even richer. And we're being told that it's our fault because there's too many of us and we keep going to A&E. Well, of course we keep going to A&E, because there's virtually nowhere else to go. We can't get to see our GP when we want to. All the other services have been cut. Council services, care and support services, voluntary sector services. So of course we're going to A&E, because at least for the time being, it's still open. But what this also shows is that we see the NHS as a haven, a safe place to go, to fix things, to put things right. But what the worst thing about this all is that NHS England is abusing this trust. It's hiding behind the veneer of the NHS logo and destroying our NHS from the inside out. Here's what NHS England is saying about our NHS. Our public research shows a clear preference for an NHS identity. It reassures patients that they can rely on the quality of service being provided. It's NHS. You know you can trust it. Really? Can we trust you, NHS England? Well, I've got news for you, NHS England. Those of us who are here today, and many more besides, we don't trust you, NHS England. We know what you are up to, behind our beloved blue and white logo. And we won't stand for it, because it's our NHS and we want it back. Whose NHS? Our NHS! Whose NHS? Our NHS! Thank you.